couple of birds in a wolf den, but to us it still feels like heaven. Cause we don't let the bad vibes get in, we don't let them win. Testify to the strength of a true bond, flying high over the heads of a root mob, staying at the revolution of the whole plot, kill 'em all with love. I don't care if they're talking about us. No, I don't care if they put us down. No, I don't care if the sky falls around us. We're riding on a pink cloud. Out, out. We're riding on a pink cloud. 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 Our mother is the boom in the baseline. Our father is the backbeat halftime. They say we were born under a bad sign. We say yes, so what? We're the ones who create our own world. Friendly assassins known as pegboard. All glory and praise to the bad Lord. Kill 'em all with love. I don't care if they're talking about us. No, I don't care if they put us down. No, I don't care if the sky falls around us. We're riding on a pink cloud. Out, out. We're riding on a pink cloud. 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 I don't care if they're talking about us. No, I don't care if they put us down. No, I don't care if the sky falls around us. We're riding on a pink cloud. Out, out. I don't care if they're talking about us. No, I don't care if they put us down. No, I don't care if the sky falls around us. We're riding on a pink cloud. Out, out.
Was there a reason I was trying too hard to be what I could never be? 'Cause I could never find the way. Kept on believing there was only so much time it should take, but it's not right to live your life that way. 'Cause we are four steps fast, moving at our own speed in our different galaxies. How we can wait till time takes us where we're meant to be. 'Cause it's okay to do it differently. never meant for me. Kept on comparing, overthinking about the things I should have, but it's not right to live your life like that. 'Cause we are all stars, just moving at our own speed in our different galaxies. How we can wait till time takes us where we're meant to be. 'Cause it's okay to do differently. It's okay to do differently.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Revival League Season 2 playoffs. My name is Retro, and today we have a pretty banger match. It is ETERNO versus Blue Jays North in the upper bracket. Lower bracket. Sorry, I thought this was the upper bracket. It is the lower bracket quarterfinals. Of course, these two teams have played in the upper brackets before. They ended up losing the games that they played. Blue Jays North Star lost against REH in a 2-0 fashion. REH have been very, very dominant so far. Meanwhile, ETERNO took on 5 Stars, and that was a pretty insane game, if I do say so myself. It went all the way down to map 3, and map 2 had a pretty insane comeback coming out from 5 Stars. Oh, and funnily enough, Chalet, which was ETERNO's map pick, ended up losing it in overtime after they had a 1-5 or 5-1 split in the first half, and then 5 Stars went on to a crazy comeback and won it in overtime. So ETERNO are definitely looking to save a little bit of face here as they are going to be going into Chalet again. Brada says, mental game, referring to the fact that ETERNO decided to not ban a defensive operator. Very, very interesting choice there. I don't know if they got distracted or maybe they couldn't decide on what to ban, and they just sort of kept it going until the clock ran out. Either way, the bans have come out. It is Thatcher, followed by Flores, then Nothing, and then Solus. And this is a very similar situation to what we saw just the other day on Chalet when it was ETERNO versus 5 Stars, where Flores was banned, but Azami following the Flores was not, which of course meant that a lot of positions would still be held down by the Azami without really an effective way of getting rid of some of those Kiba barriers. Most notably upstairs, that blue shield position, whether there's a shield there or not, although it doesn't look like there will be a shield there, so they will probably just be holding down to it with a couple Kibas. And of course, this infamous chimney position on mezzanine is also another very, very important position for the defense to be holding onto. And when you have the Azami on the board, but not the Flores, it's just that much harder to actually deal with some of this utility. Of course, you can still do it with projectile utilities such as the grenades, of which they are bringing 2 sets on the side of ETERNO, but nevertheless, still quite difficult to clear that utility, even when you have the grenade power, just because everything has to go right. You have to throw those flashes to burn the utility of the Jaeger and the Wumai. And of course, the Wumai can regenerate his magnets for the entire duration of the round, so you don't really know what you're dealing with. You could just end up tossing some right as your grenade starts flying through, and if you don't execute that burn correctly, especially if you already lose players early on, that really, really could put a sour taste in your mouth as you're going for that execute, or the execute rather of those certain positions, not the execute of the round itself. And Rada here extending quite extensively with those Kiba barriers, and of course Azami, with the utility that she has, is able to create new sightlines and new angles. And Memphis, here we go with a grenade, already going for that exact position, and he takes down Rada. Rada completely unaware of that, and here we go, Ansatori with a Twitch drone is able to clear some of that utility without really even needing to use anything else. And because that grenade landed so perfectly, it took care of that Kiba barrier, watching chimney as well, meaning that I do believe that's Ansatori on that window, has perfect sightline all throughout that mezzanine side, but JT finally finds that refrag onto Emphas, taking on the sledge, and Ansatori, very aggressive here, jumps into the top blue window, finds the kill on the Wamai of JM, and brings the man advantage back to his team. Z7 makes even more of that happen as he takes down JT, and now it's all down to Pavlov and Katu to try and make something happen here in round 1 with just a minute left. That's quite a lot of time here for ETERNO to still be able to execute, and with so many of those players holding down these angles, there's really not much that Katu can do, and there's nothing that Pavlov can do when he's all alone in a 1 versus 4 players flooding sight quickly and assuredly. It's safe to take him down, and it's ETERNO to find that first map, or to find that first round, rather. Of course, this isn't that surprising. Again, if you were here just a few days ago when ETERNO took on 5 stars on this exact map, this is exactly how it began. ETERNO started out attacking, and they went on to have a 5-1 split. Then 5 stars just ended up being that much stronger in the second half to allow for that comeback to actually happen. So ETERNO are definitely going to be looking here, as I said, to save face, to make sure that they do not lose their map pick again, and especially in that fashion where they had the advantage pretty much the entire time, as they ended up being on a 6-1, at a 6-1 lead at one point, so they were on match point, and they just were not able to hold on to it. So they're definitely going to be looking to try and do that today. Meanwhile, North Star are definitely going to be looking to recover a little bit from having lost to a Premier League team when they played against REH, and REH were just a little bit too dominant, and I think that that really reinforces what I was saying about some of these Premier League teams, and especially teams like 5 stars and REH, who managed to climb their way into those top 2 spots of Premier League to promote themselves into the playoffs, because I've been saying this for a while, that some of these Champions League teams definitely have something to worry about a little bit when it comes to these playoffs and when it comes to those relegation matches as well. There are some hungry teams in the Premier League, and we get to see a little bit of that right here, right now, when it's REH and 5 stars to advance further on through the upper bracket, and leaving some of these Champions League teams wanting a little bit more. Cartoon, an initial engagement there against Emphas, and it just to come out of it alive and unscathed. Emphas first taking a little bit of damage in that one, and now engaging against Pavlov as well instead of dying, taking even more damage. Getting smoked away and taking so much more damage, bringing himself just at 1 HP, and the grenade that he threw will miss. Unable to really make up any space or move any further on out. ETERNO, or Blue Jays North Star for that matter. Wow. That was not where I thought that kill came from. No, it is Rudda on the other side of the map to find a kill on that window, I believe, on 2 Emphas. And what I was saying is that North Star this time have extended quite far out onto this northern side of the top floor, leaving way less room for ETERNO to take up, and to take up quickly, and now being very, very aggressive and taking up a lot of these positions. They were able to waste quite a lot of time, but in the end, they ended up losing one of their roamers. Not before a lot of that time, as I said, has been wasted, and still a lot of these positions are being held down. But without the Azami, that's going to be a little bit harder, and now Rudda being taken down as well, leaving North Star yet again at a man disadvantage, and now this is the perfect opportunity for ETERNO to make up ground that they lost when they were losing a lot of that time, and JM completely blind, having to move from the position that he was holding behind that shield at the top of the blue stairs, being waited on by saves, gets taken down in the end, and it's all down to JT and Pavlov yet again to try and make something happen. Ansatori will shut down JT. It's all down to Pavlov inside of the bomb site yet again. Takes down on Satori. That's a direct refrag, but he's still got 3 more players to deal with.
Seconds remaining.
Z7, quite low HP, finds one, can't quite find the other one, and now he's going to be rushing to the bomb site. He finds one, he finds the second one as well. Northstar win that on the back of a Pavlov signature clutch. Beautiful, beautiful moves there. I'm honestly impressed that he was able to reload that SMG-11 in time for the Iana to rush him there, and beautiful flicks all around. A little bit of a misplay there from Northstar, from ETERNO rather, to not rush him when they had the man advantage there and they were able to pinch him. Especially as he was all alone inside of the bomb site. There was really nowhere for him to go. He was behind that bar. He couldn't rotate. He couldn't move. And especially when he had to reload, there's really nothing for him to do. So they could have easily pinched him there, rushed him at the same time, taken him right down. But instead, it was Pavlov to come out on top. And, well, I said it's a Pavlov signature clutch. If you've been watching so far throughout the playoffs, you'll know exactly what I mean. It was an Oregon game against REH where REH were on a match point. And Pavlov, with Monty, was able to clutch a 1v2 or 1v3. Either way, it was I think it was a 2v2 that then turned into a 1v2 that he was able to win. Again, with Monty, quite miraculously, and keep his team alive for just a little bit longer. Unfortunately, they were not able to win that map and go to the third map that day, but it was still a pretty infamous clutch that I feel like people will definitely be talking for many, many weeks and months to come, and I think that one might make it onto, the Twitter as well, or to X as well, to showcase some of the skill of the players that compete in these leagues. And right away, it's Raptor with the first kill onto Rudda. Rudda so far been very, very unlucky getting taken down so very early on, and especially when he's playing such a crucial operator such as the Azami, whose utility regenerates all throughout the round. It is really unfortunate to be losing that player so early on. JM and so many engagements here, getting shot at from every which way. He manages to run away. Luckily, he is playing Oryx, who's able to just dash away and is able to run far away from any engagements if he needs to. So he manages to stay alive. The same cannot be said for Z7, who loses his life and now saves. Might just be hunting him down, although it doesn't look like he will be doing just that. Leaves his drone in a place that can see any potential rotations. Of course, we saw stuff like this catch teams off guard a little bit before, where they do not expect anybody to be rotating out from kitchen and into that fireplace. Although it looks like ETERNO have everything under control and they know exactly what will be happening and when. Top floor wall is opened, but look at the time. They've wasted so much already, and they've just now started to go for that initial execution with a frag grenade, or an impact grenade rather, to come flying through that wall. It does not find that Talonate shield he was looking for, and now ETERNO have the perfect opportunity to go for this lower wall as well. Blow that one open and give themselves an entrance into the bomb site. JT in a pretty crucial position, holding down the fort and not letting them really get away with anything. Pablo with a smoke bait deployed on that breach, delaying them just a little bit more. Katu getting aggressive here inside of the office. Again, cannot really do anything against that Talonate shield. And Satori chancing maybe a push into the bomb site again. He's in a pretty bad position. Gets taken down immediately, and Pavlov cleans it all up. It's a quick 1-2 to take down Satori and to take down, I'm not sure who that was on the Thermite, but to take down that player as well and win the round for Northstar. They take the lead here and show ETERNO just what they are made of. ETERNO are definitely not having quite a fly experience like they did against 5 Stars the other day on this same exact map, where 5 Stars were, safe to say, struggling quite a bit to find rounds, to find any sort of success. But they are still pretty good. I mean, that second round really should have been theirs. It really came down to Pavlov clutch. The third round also looked like it was really supposed to be theirs, considering that they had that opening kill and they really had everything that they needed. It really came down to time, which they have already wasted so much of, and still had no top floor control to speak of as far as the bomb site itself goes. Of course, they had top floor control of library and mezzanine, but they needed that office and bedroom control to be able to contest any potential counter diffusers or to be able to clear out some of those crucial positions, like the one that we saw JT holding onto with the bandit and the one that we saw Pavlov holding onto with the smoke. I was able to delay that breach being utilized for quite some time. So I would say that that was probably the first time that we really saw ETERNO falling victim to poor time management, and it allowed North Star to have just that little bit of an edge. They're going upstairs to bedroom and office to try and defend that bomb site, deciding that maybe bar gaming wasn't really going to be the bomb site for them. Although, actually, I don't think that they can go back there at this time yet. And Safes just narrowly misses there onto JM, who really could have lost his life way too quickly. And from a very unsuspecting angle. And he could just be falling victim to it here again. Or he could just be falling victim to it here. Oh, grenades flying every which way from that library double window. And another one from below. Safes, finds JM finally. Katu immediately with an answer back onto Satori. Taking down the IQ, a very crucial operator, especially against some of these electronic gadgets. Like, for example, Pavlov's... what are they called? Yokai drones, and against Katu's Electroclaws. I'm going to be able to utilize IQ's ability to be able to clear some of that utility. Katu in a pretty bad position, getting shot at quite a bit, and able to see the opponent that is shooting right back at him. That was E7 for a moment there. I think he's still holding on to that angle and just waiting for Katu to make a move. Katu does make a move, tries to make a run for it. It does not go his way. He gets taken down. Rada, all alone inside of dining room, is getting pressured multiple different ways, and Daves will go down. He tried to put some pressure up onto that player, but he just could not pull it off, and now a lot of time being wasted yet again here for ETERNO. But a minute to go, 3 versus 3. There's still so much utility for them to clear and so many positions for him to drone out. And first placing down a Claymore outside, making sure that nobody can jump out on him. Z7 making his way inside a piano, and despite the Yokai stun, he finds the kill into the Echo. Immediately refract, however, by JT. Rada finds Raptor as well as he re-emerges into the bedroom and takes up that space yet again. Memphis all on his own now, 1 versus 2, 25 seconds to go. He's getting that diffuser. He's trying to retake the diffuser, but he's taking a lot of damage from inside of the bedroom. A lot of these unsuspecting angles. He does manage to find JT. It's all down to Rada now to hold on to this round and not let Memphis get away with it. Plant being attempted here by Memphis. It looks like he's going to stick it. Rada not in a position to shut him down. Before that happens, Memphis immediately with a pre-fire, jumping out the breach and running away. He's going to run as far as his legs will carry him. Rada with the HP advantage, but not much more than that. Memphis in the position that he's in right now can hear when the attempt at the disabling of the diffuser will commence. And he's able to just swing across the ropes of that railing and is going to be able to shoot him as soon as he goes for it. Bit of a ring around the rosy. Memphis not sure where to look, but he looks the right way. Finds that kill on Rada and wins ETERNO their second round of this first map. Equalizes the scoreline at 2 rounds apiece. Brings ETERNO back into this fight. I mean, I knew that this was going to be a pretty interesting one to watch, just considering who we have playing here. I mean, there's 2 teams that we've seen time and time again throughout the Champions League season. Of course, Blue Jays North Star, if you've been following throughout the Champions League, but you don't recognize them, they are the ex-Vitical roster. Of course, if you look on the right side of your screen, you'll recognize probably all of these names. Rada, Pavlov, Katu, JM. We've seen them time and time again on the roster of Vitical Esports, and they've recently been picked up by the Blue Jays organization under the North Star Nomen. So if you're, wondering who are these people, I did not see them on the sheet, throughout the season. That's who they are. They are ex-Vitical, just playing under a different new name. And JT setting himself up in that suicide position. Unbeknownst to him, a couple drones up on the beams know exactly where he's at, and they're going to be able to soft ping and throughout the round. Of course, the yellow ping, soft ping, Z ping, however you want to call it, pretty strong piece of utility. One of the strongest pieces of utility, really, or it really reinforces how strong drones can be as a piece of utility, just because of how silent they are and how pinpoint accurate they can be. You can hit those vertical frag grenades, you can just wall bang people, and all with the power of one yellow little dot on your screen that the enemy has absolutely no way of knowing is anywhere, really. Z7 already taking up space here inside of Trophy, inside of Solarium, my apologies, alongside Emphas as well. Saves there, provide a little bit of support too. This time, Northstar decided to not be as spread out and as aggressive as they once were. And it looks like it might be hurting them, as Rudda will be that first victim yet again. Ansatori using that Twitch drone to clear some of this utility. We saw him do this before, and he's attempted to do it again, but unfortunately, it will be the MP blast from the bulletproof cam to destroy his drone, or to at least stun it for a little bit and not allow it to go on any further, clear any more utility. A lot of pressure being put up onto that position and on that blue shield, and there we go. JM will go down. Katu immediately with a refrag, however, onto Raptor. Finds him, I think, maybe through the hatch upstairs. He's able to drop away. Oh, no, he actually made his way all the way upstairs, killed him inside a piano, dropped through the hatch and ran away. 70 seconds to go. Katu holding down a pretty crucial position, but it really is all going to come down to whether or not they can hold on to the bomb site itself once the collapse starts to come in from the side of ETERNO. They are really good at that collapse. We've already seen it time and time again. Wouldn't be surprised if they are able to do it here again, especially considering the fact that they have the man advantage and they have a Blackbeard at their disposal as well. However, Ansatori will get taken down. Beautiful shot there from Z7 through the wall to find JT, and now it's all down to Katu as Pablo will get taken down. No more clutches for him in this round. Katu trying to retake upstairs. Through the hatch, he finds Emphas. Makes it a 1 versus 3. Ansatori quite low HP, but Katu's not doing too well himself. Pops one of those Vulcan canisters, make sure that they have as little room to move as possible, but it's not going to mean much when Z7 is inside a fireplace and is able to find that kill without a hitch. ETERNO retake the lead, secure themselves at least an even split on the half, and put a little bit more confidence into their boots. Fire gaming being attempted again by Northstar. So far, they've really not had too good of a track record on it. They've lost it twice now. The one time that they won it was on the back of a Pavlov 1v3 clutch that really should not have gone his way. It absolutely should have been an ETERNO win, but Pavlov was able to clutch it up and win that round for Northstar. For them to be attempting to go back to this bomb site again tells me two things. It tells me they want to continue this until they win it. Maybe a little bit of resilience there, a little bit of perseverance. Like, okay, we lost it, but we know exactly what went wrong and how to fix it. So we're going to attempt it again, and we're going to win it this time, and it's not going to go bad, third time's the charm.
5 seconds to insertion.
Or fourth time, I guess, in this scenario. But it also tells me another thing, far more important thing, and that is the fact that they do not wish to go to the basement. It is a bomb site that once upon a time was the favorite bomb site for anybody playing this map, and everybody loved to play it. It was the one that people gravitated to the most, but since the rework, and even more so since a lot of those strategies have been completely dismantled and there have been a lot of counters to those strategies, it has really fallen out of favor for a lot of teams, but it still stands as a site that teams can go to and can fall back on if they so need to. It doesn't look like North Star are doing that, but it doesn't look like they need it, as Rudda finally is able to find that opening frag rather than being the opening frag and taking down not just Memphis, a pretty crucial player for the side of ETERNO, but also taking down one of 3 sets of nades. The C4 will get pot right in Safe's face, and somehow he stays alive for it. D7 making up ground, finding Pavlov and Rudda all at the same time. Safe's now being allowed space into the kitchen. Katu, meanwhile, trying to make some vertical angles, trying to force North Star into trying to force ETERNO into his crosshairs, but it's really not going to matter all that much, considering how much space they are able to gain now, and with JM having to give up that blue shield, so much utility flying down his face is really not going to do anything for him either. Safe finds the kill, but goes down into a frost mat. Doesn't really matter all that much, as yet again ETERNO have the upper ground, or have the upper hand rather, and are able to find the rest of the remaining players, leaving Katu all by himself. It's effectively 1 versus 3, considering that Safes is down, then an irretrievable, but there was just too many cross angles being held there for Katu, and there was nothing that he could do. Gets taken down. ETERNO find another round and take a 4-2 lead. Not quite the 5-1 that they had against 5 Stars back on Saturday? Think so. I think that was Saturday. My days are a little bit funky, but yeah, not quite the success that they had, but still a pretty decent split, especially considering that, you know, for them this may be an attacker-sided map, and you know, in the grand scheme of all R6 esports, Chalet might be the only map that holds the edge for the attack, and that has a slight attacking advantage compared to every other map having a pretty significant defensive advantage. But in Revival League, it still remains pretty defender-sided overall. So ETERNO are now, despite not being on their favored side, are going onto the side that is favored by the map itself, which is definitely going to be quite useful. And now, of course, with having that Azami on the board, it's going to be that much easier. However, a storm is brewing on the side of BJ's North Star, who are now bringing what can only be classed as a rush lineup. They've got the Ying, they've got the Line, they've got the Amaru, the Gridlock, and the Sledge with the grenades. This, if I had to guess, will probably be a window plant inside of Bar, but of course that is, or inside of Gaming rather. That is so difficult to execute, especially when the defenders are situated so heavily on the bomb site and around it, but nevertheless, JM is able to find that opening frag onto Hansatori. Emphas taking quite a lot of damage as well, and now JT making up ground from the basement up is able to take control of the blue stairs. Emphas and Safes both find a piece. Candela's flying in all over the place. Raptor in a crucial position. I don't think they have any idea that he's there. Pavlov is in the bomb site, taking down Emphas. Oh no, but Raptor didn't know that they were all around him, and he let it slip away. Pavlov found him with the shotgun, and then was able to find Ansatori with the shotgun as well as he was dropping down that hatch. A very unfortunate, very unfortunate round there for ETERNO, when they kind of looked like they took... Yeah, that was... sorry, I got I gotta know in my ears from observer Happy, he was laughing about how he shot the legs of the Azami there at the end and was able to take the kill. Yeah, well, that's the beauty of Siege. And that was the beauty of a rush strategy. You know, if it works, it works. And North Star managed to close that gap by just another round and are now a little bit more comfortable where they're sitting, knowing that they denied ETERNO from going from themselves just a step away from match point, and knowing that they maybe shook them up a little bit. Maybe the comms are a little bit shaky now in ETERNO's, voice call right now. They're like, oh, what did you do? And what were you doing? And where were you? And how did we let that happen? Or maybe, they're just a little bit annoyed. Cannot believe they did that. That's so low. That's so cringe. Well, the mental game is just as important as every other part of the game. As the utility game, as the gun game. All of it is part of one beautiful blend that is competitive Siege, and North Star might have just executed a little bit of that perfectly. Nevertheless, though, whatever they may have found with it, they managed to find the round, and what a beautiful opener there from Rudda onto C7, who was none the wiser about that particular position being played at all. And he was probably a little bit too comfortable about it, considering that his teammate was on the same floor as a couple of those attackers as well, but there was nothing that Emphas could do. He was just too far away and completely unaware of that push, but nevertheless, he finds the kill onto Pavlov through the wall. So many wall bangs going on, although that was a floor bang there onto 4Z7. Nevertheless, however, that refrag is found, the man count is equalized, and ETERNO are able to breathe a little bit more comfortably, but nevertheless still probably a little bit shook up, and especially having lost their Warden and having lost C7, who's currently leading their team with kills, it's definitely going to hurt to have to continue this round without him. Ball getting opened up inside a bedroom, and Utility flying towards that shield, making sure that they are able to take care of it. JM holding on to that very, very important position of those stairs. He does not want to allow anybody to shoot his teammates. And this is a pretty far away angle to try and contest that push from inside of Piano, and he finds quite a lot of JM's HP, but is not able to take him down. And Satori finding Rudda, still aggressing from that shield position, even though I do believe the shield is gone. But now, North Star aggressing just the same. Saves, punishes them for that. JT will be able to find one refrag, but that's all he'll find. And Katu jumps into the window, completely unaware of somebody still being inside of library. He was already looking down the hatch. Gets taken out, and ETERNO take the round. Put themselves just a step away from match point as they extend their lead. And North Star, who for a moment were looking so dominant and so confident, and who absolutely won the mental game of the round previous, were not able to find any success on round 8, and are now once again looking to make up some ground and find that opening yet again. ETERNO now, after playing bar gaming twice, have decided to go down into the kitchen dining bomb site, which is another very, very vertical bomb site that does need to be defended from upstairs by holding down the office as well as the bedroom. And funnily enough, they're going to be doing it in a similar fashion to what we saw from North Star, however still different. Whereas North Star brought the smoke with Pavlov, ETERNO have decided that they're going to bring a shield, and they're also going to bring a pretty successful and a pretty good area denial operator with the Tachanka. Of course, they're going to be able to utilize that shield upstairs and hold on to that position for a little bit longer, as well as waste some utility and waste some time. But also they're going to be able to do very similar area denial to Smoke. Since Smoke has lost his shield earlier in the season, a lot of people have been bringing, or a lot of teams rather, have been bringing Tachanka in his place, because of course he has the shield. He has a similar loadout with having, of course, the LMG to use for site reconstruction, and then having the Bearing 9 as a sort of FOS and G11 for any long-range gunfights that may need to happen. And of course, the Shumika launchers of the Fire is able to test some of that area and is able to find and is able to delay quite a lot of pushes for a little bit longer. Emphas and Pavlov completely unaware of each other in the basement, just running circles around each other, but so far so good. No one dead with a minute already gone. Rudda making quite a lot of destruction in that basement ceiling or in the lower boards. Rudda, in the meantime, still holding down to this Buck skeleton key and trying to make as much soft destruction as possible to open up as many angles and push people as far away as possible. So far, this is the only round that we've had where, 90 seconds have gone and more than 90 seconds have gone and still no death. So this could get quite messy as soon as that wall gets opened up downstairs, and they're gonna try and go for an execute. Of course, they still have no vertical control to speak of to North Star, and they're still unable to really clear any of that utility from the wall, so they're not able to open up the wall either. Looks like they're gonna be attempting it now, but with that fire being shot up through the openings upstairs, or through the openings on the wall, they're not really able to get too close to it enough. Rudda will go down, leaving the defensive team with the man advantage. And again, that fire delaying North Star so much as they're really not able to do anything. They cannot open the wall, they cannot push in, and it's an unfortunate TK that takes down JT. It's fire that will kill JM. Pavlov is able to deny the flawless round and find a kill into saves, but that's all he'll be able to do. Time dwindling down. Pavlov will go down, and so will Katu. ETERNO take the round in quite a confident fashion there. Put themselves at map point as well, and North Star will be taking a timeout here, as that did not look good. That entire half has really been quite messy. They got that initial opening round, but they've not really been able to set foot into this concrete all that much. And now, with ETERNO on map point 6-3, it really could be but it really could be quite a problematic moment here for North Star. Of course, it's a similar situation to where you saw ETERNO be in, where they had the advantage and they really should have gotten the win as well, but 5 stars prevailed and were able to go for a comeback. I mean, I said the same thing about 5 stars, but I don't know if North Star really have what it takes to make this comeback happen. It seems like there's a lot of mistakes that they're making. None of them are really glaring and huge and obvious, but, even when you're making small mistakes like, miscommunication or mispositioning yourself a little bit, that can snowball into a really, really big problem. Like, for example, them having no idea that Emphas was downstairs inside of basement when he was basically dead to rights. If they had 2 people down there, chased him for a little bit, there's really not many places that you can go. They might have been able to take care of him, get that opening frag, give themselves a little breathing room. Even if they hadn't done that, maybe moving at a little bit of quicker pace, getting that wall opened up a little bit quicker upstairs and gaining a little bit of control upstairs instead they completely vacated it. They spent their entire round trying to open up that bottom wall, which they were not able to do considering the fact that they had fire flying at them every which way, which again, credit where credit is due, a brilliant strategy there from ETERNO, but still, there should have been a bit of a maybe rotation to the other side of the map, maybe realizing, okay, we're not going to get this wall open, this isn't going to happen, let's try and make something happen, let's try to go from, maybe the basement up those west main stairs, try to get a pinch going from Trophy side as well, maybe try and get a little bit of Solarium control from the windows, and try to make something happen from that side, considering nothing will come of this on this side, and I hope that, you know, realizing that was a part of their timeout right there, just knowing that they need to position themselves a little better and that they need to drone a little better, apparently, as well, as Z7 pushes in behind the drone, or in front of the drone, rather, and takes down Jayhem, who was looking the wrong way, pushed in a little bit too quick behind that drone, and the drone was never going to be able to give that information quickly enough. I mean, I always say that if you're droning anything, the most efficient and the best way to drone is to have somebody follow that drone, but there is a rule for how close to the drone you have to be. The drone has to be a certain distance ahead of you so that it's able to see people and so that it's able to relay that information to you in time, and it doesn't look like that's the rule that Northstar followed there at all. Z7 is able to find another one. The Katu is he's fighting here against Rudda, who really looked like he hit a headshot, but it either didn't register or he missed it by just, you know, millimeters. And now Pavlov will take down on Satori as well. Rudda in a frost mat that he was shooting at for a period of time there, completely unaware about its positioning, and JT Pavlov find themselves in this essentially 2v3 yet again. Luckily enough, Rudda was in a retrievable position, so they were able to find him, but very aggressive behind a Kiba barrier is saves, who finds the kill onto Pavlov and leaves Rudda and JT all to their own. Rudda trying to make something happen with those lifeline stuns, and he's not able to do anything. Saves, finds that kill. Bit of a run-out coming out from Raptor as well. JT is able to pick up on that, punish the aggression, but now he still has saves and Memphis, two very, very good players so far on the side of ETERNO, still to deal with and play against. 1 versus 2, still so much utility at his disposal in terms of primary and secondary gadgets, but he's got no drones and really no information to be relayed to him at all. 2 angles being held. There was nothing that he could ever have done. Memphis finds the final frag, and the round, or the map rather, too, will go ETERNO's way. They make up for the loss that they had against 5 Stars just the other day, take precedent, win the first map, and win their map pick as well, and put BJ's, or Northstar, into a bit of a pickle here, as they're going to have to try and make this back once we get to Oregon, which will be the second map. If they are able to win Oregon, we will be going down all the way to Theme Park, which really could be no man's land. I mean, if we were going to something like Clubhouse, I'd probably think that Northstar have that slight edge just from what we've seen them do on a Clubhouse before. But instead, it will be Theme Park, or it might be Theme Park, depending on how Oregon goes. Oregon was Northstar's pick, so hopefully they're going to be able to have a little bit more success on that one. We'll be taking a short break from the stream, and once we come back, it will be ETERNO versus Blue Jays Northstar. Map number 2, it will be Oregon. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Revival League Season 2 playoffs. My name is Retro, and we are back. This is Map 2 of ETERNO versus Blue Jays North Star in the lower bracket quarterfinals. Map 1 was Chalet, and after a pretty intense game against 5 Stars back on Saturday, ETERNO were able to save face and recover from that beating, and we're able to take Blue Jays North Star at a 7-3 fashion and take us here to map number 2 of Oregon. It is North Star's pick, so this really should be in their favor, but statistically, ETERNO do have a slight edge, as this is their best map overall of all of their competitions, both in this league and in any other league, so they sort of transcend Revival when it comes to their success on Oregon. So whether or not this is going to be a North Star win, it is not going to be easy, and I think that they are aware of that themselves as well. A little prelude. I mentioned this back on map 1, but just in case you were not around and you missed it, if you're looking at Blue Jays North Star and you're thinking, who the heck are these guys? They played throughout the entirety of Champions League and I think last season as well, but throughout the entirety of Champions League Season 2 under the Vertical Esports organization, and have recently been picked up by the Blue Jays organization, and they are playing under the North Star Nomen. So if you're looking at some of these names and you recognize them, like Pablo Verota, JM, well, that is where you are recognizing them from. They are ex-Vertical and now Blue Jays North Star, and they are ready to win some games. Of course, this is a lower bracket game from the from the double elimination playoffs, meaning that this is their final chance. If either of these teams, if they lose it here, well, they basically go home wishing that they could have done better. There is still a 5th place match they will be playing, or the loser of this matchup will be playing against the loser of, who is that, Lumina and REH, that will be happening in the coming days. But for now, we're still going to have to see and determine who the loser or the winner of this one will be. Of course, the winner will advance further throughout the, well, that was kind of a waste of utility. Something that definitely would have been very, very good and very, very strong, a little while ago, back when Valkyrie was still really, really strong and could have her cameras be outside and useful. But now when the cameras get disabled, it's really not that useful piece of utility. And Blue Jays are in, and they are gunning for it, taking out Emphas and Safes right after. Emphas and Safes both getting a little bit overzealous, and with that little bit of wasted utility, I really don't know what else I could have expected. Nevertheless, though, they find that opening kill and then some, put themselves at quite a deep advantage here, and with so much time to still work with, I don't really see a way for ETERNO to really be able to recover from that. More utility getting thrown out from that hatch and just being wasted, as it's not really catching anybody or anything. Raptor atop the foosball table, protecting himself from any vertical grenades, and JM and not so much being protected from any stray bullets. Getting down, but immediately retrieved by Rudda. Accessory taking a lot of damage from those main stairs, but taking down his shooter. Upside down repel. Beautiful kill there from Katu. He knows his lefts and rights, and he found that beautiful kill. Z7 Raptor now all alone in a 2 versus 4 with, again, so much time for North Star still to work with. The beautiful kill there, Z7. Nicely predicted. A C4 will go out and will be shot out midair by the player at the bottom of those stairs. Z7 tried to drop the hatch and maybe go for a bit of a kill, but an air jab caught him off guard, and Pavlov in the meantime made his way into the bomb site, took down his teammate, and now it's all down to Z7 in a 1 versus 3. North Star taking their sweet time to open up that breach and go in for a potential plant, but now I fear they wasted a little bit too much time and gave Z7 a little too much room, as he's able to completely cover off that breach, but doesn't matter because Katu is on a bit of a trip around the map and will find the player at the top of the white stairs, find that final kill, find the opening round here for Blue Jays North Star, and after seemingly not really even trying, they are able to find that opening round and take that first round. I don't know how many times I can say it in different ways, but there you go. I know that I said at the end of last map that I think that Vidical, or my apologies, truly, the Blue Jays North Star will have that slight bit of an edge just from the fact that they've been very, very successful on Oregon in the past. But, you know, with the little bit of tidbit of information that I've learned since then about this being ETERNO's best map overall across all leagues, you know, I got a little bit worried. I was like, okay, maybe the idea that I have in my head about Blue Jays North Star isn't really going to be that strong, but North Star were really showing their teeth and showing that just because they faltered a little bit on Chalet does not mean that they are out of this one, and it looks like they want to avoid that 5th place match as much as possible. They want to continue this journey throughout the playoffs. They want to make the grand finals. They want to make sure that they are in that match and that they will not let anything slip away, but who knows what that one will turn out like. The upper bracket is still so very interesting. We have 5 Stars and Arctic Wolves playing in the upper bracket finals, which will also be an interesting situation all on its own and a very interesting game. But really not sure how that one will go. And this time Pavlov got a little too aggressive, lost his life. Emphas immediately traded out by Katu. Good coordination from the side of Blue Jays North Stars. E7 taking so much damage but running away largely unscathed and still holding down to his position. And Satori finding the kill onto JM as he rushes down those main stairs, still contesting that balcony. JT drops away before he's really able to lose his life, but a jump out from Z7 gets him down. The Z7 going in for the finisher is not going to be able to find it as JT crawls around and away behind a fence. Katu, however, waiting for Z7 to peek into him. He does just so, but only one of those DMR bullets hits, and Z7 is still alive and gunning for it. Rada trying to retrieve JT. Meanwhile, Katu still inside the building, waiting, holding down the fort. This time, the time management has not been so good for Blue Jays North Star, and the aggression from Mansatori once again goes perfectly rewarded. Z7 with what I believe might have been another jump out, and I was correct. Finds the kill there onto Rada, and JT with just a sliver of HP there is really not able to do anything against the MP5K of Umai. And Satori will find that kill and continue to absolutely tear through this team. Of course, this is something that we saw from ETERNO before. We didn't really see it too much on Chalet. They were sort of in the middle ground between aggressive and passive. But this type of unadulterated aggression is something that is very new to ETERNO. If you've been following throughout the Champions League streams so far, you might think, who the heck is this? I've never seen ETERNO play like this, and as I say, it is something very, very new to them, to that roster, to their play style. They are known in the Champions League for being one of those teams that like to do a lot of data analysis, that like to figure out exactly, you know, the triangulate the exact position and the exact lineup of throwing that smoke babe through 3 walls and finding that perfect placement. They're known for finding positions that are perfect as they are, why they are perfect, what they need to reinforce that position with, and how they can translate those positions into perfect wins. So to see them going with this, or playing with this complete and unadulterated aggression, is something very, very new to this roster, something that you really don't see too often from them. And 5 Stars were definitely taken aback by it. They definitely were not expecting to be met with so many jump outs and so many very early engagements. And only once they figured out that that is the play style that they were going up against were they able to counter it with their own piece of aggression, and were they able to find those wins. North Star are going to have to come up with the exact same solution in order to find these wins. However, this is a very, very strong strategy here coming out from Blue Jays North Star with that Ying, with that Monty. ETERNO are bringing the Warden, but it does not negate the power of the Ying. Z7 walking right past the drone, finding that opening kill yet again on Tarada, and finding that early advantage for his team. Again, I said this is still a very strong position for North Star to be in, even without their flank watch, even without another player, just because of how strong they are with this Monty, and specifically how strong Pavlov is with him. You might have heard me mention it briefly during Chalet whenever Pavlov had a clutch, that he had a pretty insane clutch here against REH just a few days ago. That was very, very insane. That was on Friday. And if you've missed that one, I definitely recommend going back and watching the VODs, although they are a little bit scuffed considering the production issues that we had that day. But nevertheless, that clutch, if it's been clipped somewhere and shipped onto Twitter, definitely go check it out. It's a good one. But time dwindling away right now. Z7 still on that roam, and he's just really not in a position to be able to counter that too well. Pavlov rotating away now back to those back stairs, and JT taking the position up top this hatch. That is, there we go. Pavlov going down with the pistol, finding safes. All of those Candelas have been thrown down. Memphis somehow whiffing so many of those shots onto JT, finding him finally, but JM immediately with an answer onto Raptor. 30 seconds to go, and Satori and Memphis both clean up. It's all done to Pavlov, and this time he will not have the luck that he had on Friday. ETERNO find the round. Take the lead, or extend the lead, rather. And North Star once again find themselves in this trailing position. ETERNO coming out with a timeout very early on. Not really sure what that is for, considering the fact that they've not really been playing too badly. Maybe it's because Safes and Raptor haven't opened up yet with those kills, but of course it's only really been 3 rounds, and it's the only thing that I'm seeing that might be the issue. Apart from that, there really hasn't been anything. If anything, I'd say that the thing for them to discuss would probably be Z7 and Memphis being a little too aggressive, but at the same time, it has been working out for them, so I don't really see why they would stop doing that. Of course, we saw this before, back on Saturday, when it was Anzatori being aggressive and finding those opening kills pretty much every single time. So I really don't know what is to be discussed here from the team that is leading and that is winning. Maybe some, inner team issues, maybe communication is faltering a little bit. There are a lot of things for them to be really discussing as a team. It doesn't really necessarily even have to be anything to reflect on. It might be, a future plan. Maybe since they are going to kitchen and meeting, maybe it was to discuss whether they should go to kitchen and meeting or kitchen and dining. Of course, that is a possibility. Or maybe just, they haven't quite fleshed out the strategy that they want to do here inside of kitchen and meeting, and they just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page about what they were doing and what the plan was, just to make sure that they don't have to waste an entire round of playtime where everybody's confused and no one really knows what's going on. You lose the round, North Star equalize, and then they get into a discussion of what went wrong and how they can fix it. So a preemptive timeout might not be that bad or that unusual or that, bad. It's just the reason why I say that it's awfully early for them to use a timeout, especially when they're in the lead, is just if North Star turn it around and start taking the lead, ETERNO really have no way of slowing down that momentum. They have no way of slowing down that time. They have no way of pulling themselves back and discussing things. They'll just have to either wait for North Star to make their move, their timeout, or they're just gonna have to sit around and hope for the best. Nevertheless, however, the attack has commenced, and North Star are already very quickly taking up space inside a bedroom and inside of the armory, but trying his hardest to open up the attic wall, but of course that is a little bit difficult when there's a mute jammer on it, and there's quite a large area of effect for it still. Of course, if he could rappel up on that wall, it wouldn't be that much of an issue, but that is not something that he can do. Something that Enfys can do, however, is find the opening, kill into Pavlov, and take down their gridlock. Of course, the most dedicated flank watch at the moment for the side of North Star.